Josh, do you know what a dink is?
What a what is?
What a dink is?
What a dink?
Yeah, what's a dink? Do you know what a dink is?
I have no idea. Is that a new?
It's a new thing, and we're going to cover it here today on Speechless Reactions.
Oh no! Oh
no! I love that. It's a good theme song on that one. But Speechless Reaction.
I can't hear it.
Dink is. We're going to talk about what a dink is. So this is out of the Daily Wire. Are you a dink? That was okay. Without looking at any, what is being a dink? DINK. What does it sound like to you?
I would think it's a play on twink.
See, I also thought that, but
okay.
There's so many jokes you could make about it, but it actually, like, in terms of the definition, that's not what it is. So, if you're a frequent user of social media platforms such as X, Instagram, especially TikTok, you might have recently stumbled across videos or posts featuring a younger couple extolling the supposed virtues of remaining childless, including extra free time, more money, and lower levels of stress. The men and women in these videos invariably gush about how much better their lives are without children, and many pointedly replace a would-be child with a dog or cat. So a dink means dual income, no kids. Dual income, no kids.
No kids.
A general trend, and I thought this might be something that we might actually disagree on potentially, or have some disagreements on. And so I have a few different like TikToks and videos and stuff to talk about when it comes to it. And so I'm currently pulling one of them up so that we can kind of hear. There's multiple I got, but here's one of the first ones here. I'm getting it full screen so I can share it. Let's get it right here. Okay, so a dink. This is from DINK Talk.
Oh no.
Themed. Hopefully, Josh, let me know if you can't hear it. But here is this.
I just learned the phrase DINK, which means double income, no kids, and I was like, that sounds pretty lit. And then I heard the phrase DINK WAD, which is double income, no kids with a dog. Bro, sign me up.
Okay, so DINK WAD.
DINK WAD.
First off, again, these names are just like horrible. I get it's an acronym, but it just sounds terrible. Like it sounds like
marketing is bad.
I would not proudly go up to anybody, even if DINK meant like dude in khakis. Like I would not be like, oh yeah, man, I'm a dink. Like I'd be like, I am currently wearing khakis. No, like I just feel like there's nothing, even if it meant like I am the coolest person in the world, or it was a moniker that meant like very, very wealthy. I wouldn't want to be, just the sound of it sounds dumb. Like,
yeah, no, exactly. The sound is atrocious.
It is.
The sound's atrocious.
But let's talk about the idea of it. And I'll get another one pulled up, but first impressions of the idea of people that are bragging about dual income with no kids.
I mean, look, I think if you're married, if you have the dual income, I mean, I think in general, if you're married and family, you want to try to have kids. I mean, I think that's the greatest thing you can do is have kids.
Mm-hmm.
That being said, I understand there's also reasons you can't, which of course need to be looked at. You know, whether it be reasons infertility or things like that. Of course, you can't. I don't know. I mean, I do think, unfortunately, in this economy, it's easier to be that. It's easier to be a dual income with no kids because this economy just sucks. I mean,
I'll agree with you to an extent. It sucks, but the thing is that people aren't saying that the reasons are infertility or like they anything like that. It's this, and so this is one of the ones that has gone most famous. This one is where it's a dual income, no kids family, dinks, that here's what they're saying about being dinks. Take a listen.
We're dinks. We're going to get asked daily when we plan on having kids.
We're dinks. Of course, we're going to go out to eat every night after work.
We're dinks. We don't have to ask our family for financial help or to watch our kid when we want to go out.
We're dinks. We're going to go to Costco and buy all the snacks in bulk that we want.
We're dinks. We have disposable income to spend on whatever we would like and don't have to spend on a kid.
We're dinks. I'm going to go to every football game and play 18 holes whenever I want.
We're dinks. We're going to get asked to every single family event what we're doing with our life.
Yep. So that's many of the reasons. Now what are your thoughts, Josh?
Well, I mean, I think just bad financial advice is, or a bad financial decision is to eat out every night. Listen, I'm a
Not just
person.
also not just a financial issue. It's also just like wouldn't you like want to like stay home? Like it's
Yeah, I mean,
like,
listen,
also, if you're eating out every night too, are you really getting, how healthy is what you're eating? Like,
right, I mean, listen, I love me some McDonald's. I will go eat fast food a lot. I'm in a different part of my life. I know it's not good for me. I'm trying to change that a little bit. You know, usually it's times of I have no time. I simply need this versus I do love to cook. That's a bad idea financially. Yeah, health, that's a bad one. I mean, I don't know. Just hearing this, it's like, it's like, again, I get it. If there are extenuating circumstances like that, I understand that, and I do think, unfortunately, and I think what you were saying is like, they're not saying it's this. You don't have to say it's XYZ. They also have to say we struggle with infertility and things like that. You don't have to. But I think because I think it's a trend, I think people who fall into the circumstances of we want to have kids but we simply can't are going to fall into this trend because it's a trend and it gets you views.
Yeah,
which,
I think it's that. I think my biggest issue with all of this is that it sounds super selfish. Like it sounds so selfish. It's like, and it's not even. Well, I do think that everybody or people should have kids, but so I have two thoughts on this. The first is it's super selfish because all they're basically saying is we're not going to have kids because a kid would just be a drain on me being able to do anything I want to do, which in and of itself sounds childish. But then that leads me to my second point, is that's actually probably a good thing. Because right now we are experiencing a selection event. So in like Darwinism, there's things called selection events, kind of like, and this isn't necessarily as big of one, but like when the quote unquote meteor hit the earth, whether it was a meteor or like dinosaur AIDS or anything like that, whatever wiped out the dinosaurs, that's considered like a selection event that decides what happens to a species. Dinklage, the entire idea of being a dink is actually a selection event.
Dinklage?
Yes.
like Peter Dinklage?
This is a selection event. Because while I'm mad at the ideology that they're spreading, that means that dumb people aren't going to be voting if they're not going to be having kids, because the dumb people are the ones that are not going to be having kids because they're and selfish people not having kids. So thus they won't be voting, won't be participants of society. We'll hopefully have less selfish people. Like, so while I think the ideology is bad, maybe it could have a net positive in the fact that
I mean, look, we do know that we are in a era, or we're in a time where the human population is no longer sustainable. I mean, infertility rates are on the rise. We're to the point where we can no longer sustain our population. I mean, I know Elon Musk has talked on that. There's a video from last week. Kim Jong-un was crying to his women, saying like, have more kids because we're going to run out of people. Like we know this is a thing. And I think that's a bigger issue to deal with. But I think the idea of the people actually embracing that lifestyle, it's a little different. I mean, I think that's where again, if it's a medical issue or, there are definitely times and issues where but if it's just a choice, it's not.
It's just like Raven is saying here, dinks are self-selecting out of the future gene pool. And I think it's probably a good thing. But I think you bring up an interesting point because the left will continuously tell us, well, we're overpopulated as is. And so this could just be another way in which they're trying to make it cool not to have children for whatever reason of depopulation. And I do believe that there is by some, it's not like everybody on the left, it's not every Democrat, but I do believe that there are some people that genuinely want to have less people on Earth. And that's why abortion, a lot of leftist things like climate change is about reducing population. Abortion is pushed so heavily because it reduces the population. Now they're trying to make it trendy and cool, just simply not to have kids. And what the exact purpose is, I would argue, is likely in some way financial as well as power driven. But I recommend the solution: everyone become an Irish Catholic.
Why is that?
Because Irish Catholics have a lot of kids. Period.
I don't think that's the Irish Catholicism that does that.
It kind of is. I mean, in the Bible, it says spread your seed plentifully and like have a lot of children and make more of God's children. And so if what we do, this has even like been a plan for me. Like I have talks with when I've been in relationships and such, I have conversations with the women that, it just goes to like, how many kids do you want? And I'm always like, well, I want like 5 at least. But like, if that's too many, because a lot of women kind of are like, oh God, like I have to carry 5 kids.
5 Kevins? I don't know.
No, but so I'm like, well, 3. And they're like, why 3 specifically? And I go, well, I want to have more voters than it took to make the voters. That's my plan. I want to have more voters than it took. No,
Yeah.
Jokes aside, having a child is one of, and again, I don't have a child yet, but I've wanted to be a dad like my entire life. I've always
me too.
dreamed about it being a dad. I think I could do it really well. But having a child, from everybody that I know that has, I have a friend from my Bible study that just recently had a kid, and it's his first kid. And he tells me that the feeling of it is surreal. Like it's unlike anything else. And so it makes me really sad to see all these people that are acting like having children is just a burden on doing whatever you want to do. When I've never heard a parent, when they've had a child, I mean, yes, there are some pretty shitty parents out there, and I can say that because I'm not on the radio, but there's so many people there are shitty parents out there that are like, yeah, I wish I never had kids or something like that because they had a because they were a bad parent. But anybody who is a good parent or even tries to be a good parent might still screw it up a little bit. Every parent screws up a little bit. Give yourself some slack. Being a parent isn't easy, but every single parent that has even tried a little bit at being a parent says that it's a rewarding experience and that they wouldn't trade it for the world. Yeah.
I mean, and you're right. I mean, listen, I've always said I want to have kids. I want to have family like that. That's always been part of my goal in life, and whether I, and if I can't physically have kids, I want to adopt. I want in some way want to have kids. I want to have a family.
Absolutely.
And
keep going.
Listen, and I think that, and you're right. And I think what this comes down to is it's a trend. There's this trendiness, and there's this idea of, even earlier when I said, always be yourself, look out for yourself, but that's taken too far to an idea of selfishness versus do what is best for you. Be selfish at times. There are definitely times you need to be selfish, but don't be a selfish person overall. And I think that is being selfish.
And so being a dink is one thing. Being a dink is one thing. However, as we move from the top, or when we discuss the topic of family and everything and the rewarding ideology of it, I think what really pisses me off even more about this is dink wads. Because it's one thing to be
a bad name.
It's one thing to be a dink, but it's even worse to be a dink wad. And so we covered a little bit about what a dink wad is earlier. It's dual income, no kids with a dog. And so let's take a look at this one. Here's a dink wad bragging about being a dink wad.
We're dink wads. We walk with our dog in a stroller, and everyone thinks she's a human child.
We're dink wads. Our dog has more clothes than I do.
We're dink wads. We're gonna have a bassinet next to our bed so our dog doesn't get lonely at night.
We're dink wads. We're gonna spend thousands of dollars at the vet just to find out she's fine.
We're dink wads. We're gonna have to buy more storage on our phone because we take too many pictures of our dog.
We're dink wads. We take better care of our dog's health than our own.
We're dink wads. Our dog is literally our child.
No, it's not. Your dog is not literally your child.
Right.
A child is literally a child. Just like a man is literally a man, a woman is literally a woman. Oh, shit, wait. We argue about that nowadays, too. And I have a huge problem with this one because it's one thing to be like, I'm going to be selfish and do everything for myself because being a parent sounds like too much work and I don't want to spend money on a darn kid because I'd rather just spend it all on myself and be self-fulfilling and live in a world where I care much more about vanity and buying things and everything else instead of actually having any sense of altruism in my life. No, this one's even worse to me because they are literally doing everything for that dog that they would be doing if they had a child.
Right.
Buying it clothes. Like, I guarantee you could make that exact same TikTok, and instead of being I'm a dinkwad, it's I'm a parent. I take better care of my baby or child's health than I do my own. I'm a parent. My kid has more clothes than I do. I'm a parent. I need to buy more iPhone storage because I have so many pictures of my kid because I love them so much. And instead they do it with a dog. Once again, at least these people aren't recreating people, because if they recreated people as stupid as them and as selfish as them, I would probably go crazier than I already am.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you know, listen. We got I had 2 dogs at home. You know, my parents got dogs, but the kids left and they replaced them with dogs. Like, okay, that makes sense. You know,
But they didn't replace them because you're still there.
Right,
You're
but we're still here. Right.
Kid.
Right. The joke is that replaced with dogs because but that's fine because they had 2 kids and we're successful and gone. You know, I got a lizard I take care of because it's a fun pet. I always joke that she's my daughter. I still want kids. Like I still want to have a human child one day.
Well, and you just do that because you're lonely. So
yeah, I mean, listen, she's mean to me though. She doesn't like me, but I digress. She's very mean to me. But no, I mean, but again, the whole point of it's good to have a dog. It's okay to have it. I think actually caring for a dog when you're a new couple might actually be good because it does teach a little bit of responsibility and shared compassion with a couple. But eventually, you want to have kids.
Exactly. Don't treat it. Don't say it's literally my child.
Right.
It's not. And I think any parent, if you went up to a parent and is there somebody who had both owned a dog at one point in their life and then became a parent and said, is having a dog similar to raising a child? Every parent would laugh in your face.
Yeah.
Every parent would laugh in your face. I am going to raise my child like a dog, though. They're going to sleep in a cage. I'm going to bring them to the vet because it'll be cheaper. No, I'm kidding. Fed boys watching. I'm kidding.
Gotta eat out of a bowl.
Exactly. But
dry kibble.
All in all, being a dink is being a dumbass, in my personal opinion. Being a dink is being a dumbass. And if you think that you're cool or something, or that you're like, great for you if you could travel to flippin' Italy whenever you want, why don't you? Okay, final thought. One of the biggest things I cannot wait to have a kid for is to be able to show them all the things that I love in life and be able to have fun and go to different places and see the world again through the eyes of a child.
Yeah.
Like the same way that I would.
Yeah.
Because or as close to as I could as I ever could. So, and like, as you guys know, I'm very philosophical. And so I feel like I would have so much, like, all these life lessons. I'd be able to help somebody that would be directly related to me live a better life. And not that I lived a bad life that I've been living a bad life or anything, but live an even better life than I did. And I think that I would want to do that. Creating a legacy. Does nobody care about having a legacy anymore? No,
well, they don't. And so, and I've learned that is people don't. All people want is to live in the moment, get day to day. They don't care about their legacy. They don't care. I mean, and you're right. I mean, I think of the same thing. I was just talking about this yesterday. I was like, man, that's going to be me as a dad. I think of what my dad showed me. My dad introduced me to Star Wars. He introduced me to Back to the Future. I was Marty McFly. Yes, I'm a nerd. I was Marty McFly for Halloween. Because my dad showed me Back to the Future and I was a kid and I loved that movie. It's one of my favorite movies. I'm so grateful that he showed me it. You know, like I love that movie. I'm one of the biggest Spider-Man fans in the world. I can't wait for my kid to experience that, you know, and be able to share that with them. And again, relive that wonder through a kid's eyes. I agree. But I think the legacy part is a huge one. I want to be able to continue my legacy, you know, and I'm not saying I'm going to have this big grand legacy. My legacy, you know, I'm not saying I'm going to be like this big person, but I do have a legacy and I want to be able to pass it on. I want to be able to pass on what I've learned and what I've been able to share with others. Continue that, you know, and I don't think people care about that anymore, unfortunately. And I think that's a sad thing for society.
Absolutely. And I have some other stories I want to get to. But everybody, if you just tune in or anything, don't forget to like, subscribe, share, comment, all that fun stuff.